Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. Today in the next installment of getting the Honda CL350 running, we run into our first two issues. Let's get started. So as I did some observing, as I rotate the throttle, you'll notice this guy moves. And what this guy does is this is linked to the throttle and it controls how much gas is being added to the airstream, which is going to help you accelerate and all. I could lift this just the littlest amount and the bike would continue to idle, which tells me I could turn this screw and adjust the idle to get the RPMs where they need to be and the bike will continue to run. But that's treating a symptom, not the cause. So I started feeling around and this side of the engine is freaking hot, especially this muffler. And this one is cold to the touch. So as it turns out, I ran the bike, and as I manually adjusted just this one side, there was no blipping, there was no throttle response. So something was going on. This side of the engine is not working, and I know that because I'm not getting any kind of hot exhausts, while I will not be doing this on the other muffler because I will burn my hand. So from what I can tell, this is the cause, not the symptom. So this side of the engine is not burning, is not combusting, is not doing what it needs to be doing, which is why the bike is stalling. At best, it's running at 50%, which is not enough to keep the bike idling. So as I feel around, this is colder than the top part, which tells me it's probably getting gas. What I can do is I can pop this gas tube off and see if it flows a little bit. If it does, I can just turn it off real quick and I can, oh, hey. So we do have a little bit of gas dripping from here as well. Quite a bit of gas dripping from there, especially in the stop position, which is kind of interesting. Hopefully the more there's gas in the petcock, the more it'll all seal up. But I can check for gas in here, and that would tell me that gas is at least being provided to the bowl. There's a drain here. Maybe I'll pull that one and see if I can drain some gas out, and that would tell me that gas is getting into the carb. Maybe a little easier to retighten a 1/2 degree instead of trying to seal this back up. We have a little bit of gas leaking from here now, but I think that's because I went ahead and messed with this when I shouldn't have. Yep, so I'm probably gonna need a petcock rebuild. We will see if it will seal itself up. You can see it starting to run down the side. So I've been playing with this bike for probably 3 hours today, off and on, because I do have to keep the kids alive. But it didn't start leaking until I did that, which is kind of interesting and indicative of what you'll find with working on bikes or older cars or what have you. Just because it's working now doesn't mean it'll be working later, and the slightest jostle or vibration or rotation or will cause it to maybe give a little bit of grief. We do have a leak there, which is now there, and we have all sorts of leaking stuff. Right, so we're going to drain the tank and go ahead and get a petcock rebuild, which puts everything on hold. That kind of sucks, but we can at least rebuild the petcock. It very well could be that the diaphragm has failed, and that's why we're not getting fuel to this. That would ideally be the simplest solution, but we do have a bike that, provided a decent battery, which will also need to be put on order, is capable of functioning at 50%. Much better than it was this morning. There's a number of ways to drain the tank. I could pop one of those hoses and detach the tank and flip it over. Or you can have a gas can and a hose of whatever diameter and length you need. Make sure it is clean. Get it as deep down, giggity, as you can, and then provide a small suction and you'll get a siphon. So there we go. The longer the hose, the less likely you are to suck in some of the liquid explosive dinosaur, but you can hear and see that the gas is running until it doesn't. So we have an air bubble here, we have an air bubble there. I'll just realign it. What I typically do, if it stops, I'll blow into it and blow all the gas out of the line, and then I'll try to reprime it, and we'll get as much gas out of it as we can. All right, so that's the damage for the day. We determined there's something going on with the gas system. We at least need a new petcock or let it sit in the gas a little longer, see if it fixes itself. At this point, it's cheap insurance. I think it's like 20 bucks for a rebuild kit. we'll go ahead and do that. And then once we get fuel delivery working correctly, we can determine if we do or don't have spark and what's going on with that side of the engine. But we know it turns over, we know we have compression, we know we have spark, we know we have fuel, we know we have air on the left side at least. So we'll be running some numbers and doing some tests to see if we can't figure out what's on the right side that is preventing it from working. So relatively simple. This is what you'll run into, and luckily everything is nice and exposed, unlike a car engine bay, and since it's stupid simple design, it should be relatively simple to troubleshoot as well. So this is outside the target demographic. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Any questions, comments, concerns you have, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.